Hi and welcome to Tech Rems. Today we will be covering the basics of databases and data modeling. By the end of this video, you will understand what databases are and how to model them. We will have hands-on examples on data modeling using crow's-foot notation. Let's start with an introduction to database. A database is a formal collection of logically related data and a description of these data, designed to meet the information need of an organization. You have to take note that there are several definitions for database. Databases are used in a variety of applications such as banking, e-commerce, healthcare, and education. In order to manage the database, we use a software application called Database Management System or DBMS. DBMS help users to create, maintain, and update their databases. There are two main types of database systems, that is Relational Database Management System and Non-Relational Database Management System. Relational Database Management System store data in tables organized in rows and columns. These tables are linked to each other using relationships, and it includes popular software such as SQL, SQL Server, and Oracle. Non-relational databases, on the other hand, do not use tables and can be categorized into different types such as document-based, key value, and graph. Now that we understand what database is, let's talk about data modeling. Data modeling is the process of creating a visual representation of the data structures in a database. Data modeling is an iterative and progressive process. Before you write the actual code for your database, it is necessary for you to model your database. Data modeling helps you to visualize or see how your database will look like before you even implement it. It also serves as a blueprint for the organization's database that can be used by other designers and developers even in your absence. Data modeling has what we call building blocks or components of data model. They are entities, attributes, relationships, and constraints, which we will talk about later. Entities are the objects or concepts that the database is designed to store information about. For example, customers, products, or orders. Attributes are the characteristics of entities that we want to capture, such as customer's name, address, and phone number. Relationships describe how the entities are related to each other, such as the fact that a customer can place many orders, but an order can only be placed by one customer. In data modeling, there are three types of relationships. That is one-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship, and many-to-many relationship. You have to take note that relationships are bidirectional. The entity relationship model is one of the most widely used data modeling techniques for relational databases. It involves identifying the entities that are relevant to the database, as well as their attributes and relationships with other entities. Now that we understand the basic components of data modeling, let's introduce the crow's-foot notation. The crow's-foot notation is a graphical notation used to represent entities, attributes, and relationships in a data model. It is called crow's foot because the symbols used resemble the foot of a crow. To use crow's foot notation for data modeling, we need to understand the different symbols and their meanings. There are symbols for entities, attributes, relationships, and cardinalities. Entities are represented in rectangles written in uppercase letters and also in singular form. The attributes are listed in a rectangle below their entities. Relationships are represented by a straight line connecting the entities involved. Also, cardinality describes the maximum and minimum number of entities that can be associated with another entity in a relationship. These are the cardinality symbols that we'll be using in our data modeling. We have 0, 1, and many. And when we put them together, we have 0 or 1, we have 0 or many, we have only 1, and we have 1 or many. You remember I said relationships are bidirectional. The cardinality values are placed at the endpoints of the relationship line. The first value represents the maximum number of entities that can involve in the relationship at a time, and the second value represents the minimum. Now, on a relationship line, for the maximum cardinality, the symbols that are allowed or can be used there are many or one. And for the minimum cardinality, the symbols that can be used are 1 or 0. Also, the maximum cardinalities are used to determine the type of relationship involved, and the minimum cardinalities are used to determine the participation level of the entity. 0 represents optional participation and 1 represents mandatory participation. Now, with these cardinalities, the maximum symbols are 1 and many. Hence, the relationship is 1 to many. However, the position doesn't matter. And also, the participation level here is 1, and so it's mandatory. But over here is 0, and so it's optional. Now, let's apply what we've learned so far on hands-on examples. Suppose we want to create a data model for a simple business rule like this. A customer can have many invoices, and each invoice must belong to only one customer. Now, let's represent this. First, we have to identify the entities. The entities here are customer and invoice. Remember how entities are represented with uppercase letters and in singular form. Now, let's establish the relationship with cardinalities. It says a customer can have many invoices. So, the maximum cardinality for customer is many, and the minimum is 0. Because of the word can, it means that there can be a customer without an invoice. Now, for the invoice, each invoice must belong to only one customer. So, the maximum and minimum cardinalities are 1. What this means is that you can't have an invoice without a customer. Then you write the relationship verb, thus have or belong, according to the business rule. Now, can you tell the type of relationship in here? Is 1 to many. So this is our notation for this business rule. Let's look at example 2. Each order must have at least one order item, and each order item must belong to exactly one order. The entities here are order and order item. The business rule says order must have at least one order item, meaning the maximum is many and the minimum is 1, thus at least one order item. And for the item order must belong to exactly one order, so 1, 1. Then you write the relationship verb, thus have or belong. What type of relationship is here? That's 1 to many. Now try these examples on your own to check your progress. If you have any challenges, you can put them in the comment section below. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed yet. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.